So a little bit about me. I lead a crazy amount of projects and maintain even more and contribute to a ridiculous amount. So the main ones I maintain at the minute are Chai, UnJS, Vue.use, Parse5, Clack, Chokidar, E18E, TinyLibs, Bombshell, and I contribute to a lot of projects which are not listed here, because this is only a small amount of what I actually do contribute to. As part of E18E as well, I contribute to way more just as a side project kind of thing. But yeah, the thing I'm talking about today is E18E. So E18E is basically a community built around the fact that we sort of have a problem with dependency trees at the minute, which is, to say the least, we have crazily deep dependency trees which are pulling in loads of overly granular packages and unmaintained packages and loads of packages that you're not even aware are in your dependency tree. But on top of that, we also have like quite a lot of aged packages which, let's say they're built in CommonJS or they were built for ES5. And yeah, now we're trying to modernize all of this code. So we need a community around this to be able to sort of drive the effort, because not everyone will think to look in their dependency trees and look in their implementation of the algorithms that they've got in their own code and things like that. So you still need some sort of documentation and a community and things around this to help people. So the E18E community is basically a group, but also a movement in that where we're trying to change the mentality of the JavaScript ecosystem, the whole community, because we essentially want people to put performance first. So a big chunk of this is just helping document and create tools, essentially. So the sort of main part of what E18E is doing at the minute as a community is reducing the dependency count, but also the install size of popular projects, and as part of that, also the bundle size of things that you would ship. So an example of this is like Preact, for example. We have reduced the runtime size of Preact, and we've reduced the install size of Prettier and ESLint and a bunch of other things. But here's just a couple of, like the install size that we've reduced. So the big one, obviously, is Storybook, because it was 124 meg, and there's probably some Storybook people here this week, but we reduced it to 68 meg, which is crazy, and you will see the dependency tree after this slide, but it was a massive saving. And the other one is like the React router, which is 2 meg to 60 kilobytes. And this one is essentially unused dependencies on unused code that just was left in the package long ago, and people had to point out in an issue in the GitHub repo, by the way, you're shipping this thing that's 99% of the package, maybe we should remove it because it's not used. And we did that, and now it's 60 kilobytes. And yeah, the other one is, like 11T. The 11T team had a release which was called the E18E release, and the E18E release of 11T went from 21 megabytes to 17. And again, that was just mostly removing deep trees of dependencies and using more modern alternatives. But yeah, the overall reduction side of this is just go through the dependency trees of popular packages and just basically chop out the large subtrees until you can narrow down like the essential code, basically. Yeah, so an example of this is like the Astro dependency tree right now. Sorry, Fred, wherever you are. The Astro dependency tree is actually a really good dependency tree. Like it has really modern dependencies. But the one which I will be opening a pull request for this probably tonight is Boxen. So Boxen this is like what, 20 dependencies deep or something. Boxen is for rendering a box in the terminal. And you know, this is 800 kilobytes, I think, of dependency that every Astro install will install for rendering a box. And we can pull clack in, for example, which is 40 kilobytes for the box or something or less. The prompts, the clack package as a whole is 400. And this provides loads of CLI prompts, whereas Boxen is just a box and it's twice as big. So things like this, you know, you need to basically know the alternatives and look at, well, maybe we shouldn't use a package this big for this small of a thing. Maybe there's an alternative. So the E18E community is trying to essentially list this and make it like documentation to tell you to go from A to B. And yeah, that like here's the good one that we always show, which Storybook 8 was massive. Like you don't need to read it, but it was ridiculously big. And you know, a huge amount of people were moving away from Storybook because it was clunky and it was big and just a massive install size. And then we basically worked with the Storybook team, collaborated with them a crazy amount over probably a year or so. And then we ended up with the dependency tree on the right, which is, you know, it's miniature now in comparison, and it does pretty much the same job as Storybook 8. And the new versions will be even smaller and ESM only, which means it'll halve the install size because it's dual package. But yeah, essentially, like this is what we're trying to do for all tools that we all use. So take the community and go around the ecosystem and do this to every tool. And then hopefully one day they're all small and they're all fast. You know, one can hope. So the other side of this is making things faster. We do a lot of cleanup and stuff, but you also want to investigate CPU performance and things like that, which is a much deeper dive. But we have a lot of people in the E18E community that specialize in this. So, you know, they're off looking at CPU profiles, trying to figure out how to make popular tools a lot faster. And you can see the example here that, like, the current version of Prettier is, you know, without a cache is almost 30 seconds on the repo we were testing against. And the next version, which is like the E18E version, that's the official replacement, is like 7 seconds or something. So if we keep doing that, we will end up getting like a ridiculous amount of gain from tools that everybody uses. So often, one thing you'll run into as part of this is you can't always update a dependency because it might not be maintained anymore. So we have quite a lot of community alternatives, which are essentially packages people introduced in like recent years to replace all these older, slower ones. So just to get like, this is a very brief summary because there's loads of these packages, but just to give an idea, you can see like all these. They're all basically popular replacements for much older, clunkier, larger packages. An example of this is like Tiny Exec that you can see at the top right. Tiny Exec is probably like 20 kilobytes, 30 kilobytes, something like that. And Execa, which is the one that we all used before that for executing processes, is probably like a few hundred kilobytes. And then, you have things like Empathic, which is for file system traversal, but replaces like dozens of packages. It's not a one-to-one replacement. So quite a lot of these are getting the granularity correct of how many functions should be in one package instead of having loads of one-liners. And then, like as a person that works on a project or maintains one, what can be done? There's quite a lot of tools, but these are like the main ones that we basically recommend now. So the E18 ECLI, which is coming, will basically help you analyze your dependency tree and your package config and everything else. And it will give you a CLI output, which I'll show you in a second. But we have like the GitHub action as well, which does roughly the same job, but as a reply to PR comments. We have npm graph, which is just a quick way of visualizing your dependency tree, which also usefully it lists potential replacements. And then we have nip, which is basically finding unused files, unused dependencies, things like that. And the module replacements repo is essentially a manifest of all these replacements that the community recommends. So the community says you should move from A to B. We just have all this in an official manifest that you can source and use in like a lint plugin or whatever. And then the package size website just basically lets you calculate the install size of a package. And then publint is for linting like publish package config. So just to have a quick look at some of these. The GitHub action that we released recently is very useful in that it basically replies to pull requests with warnings like duplicate dependencies, security changes, stuff like that. So it's really useful for that. And then Daniel Rowe has a similar action for saying if the trust level changed in a package. It's like if it had provenance before and it doesn't anymore. So it's really good for security. And then this example of publint output showing that React DOM isn't published correctly. Fine. And then the module replacements is on the E18E website, which lists all, you should replace A with B. So I just skip through this for time, but NIP is finding the unused packages. And then the A18 ECLI is what's coming soon, which will join all of this up. And it will help you out, basically, into automating a bunch of this. And yeah, just to get involved, like, join the Discord. If you want to contribute, browse the issues. Just join in, and if you're a maintainer, come say hi. And we'll help you make your package faster. If you're using all these packages, come tell us if there's one that's slow. We'll make that faster as well. And that's it. Thanks for listening.